Welcome to Biowise with Achal. I hope the definitions and abbreviations are all done. So let us move with some MCQs. How many? 100. So in this period of time, at least how you're going to assess yourself for the MCQs, see how many questions you could answer. Mark down the topics which you are not able to answer even now, right? Now the time is not there for your examination. So there must be any question which you find it difficult. Make a note of it that you're not aware of that topic. So let us proceed. Let this be insight for you to understand that which chapters are still left. Okay. And those who have completed their portion, so it will give you a good practice. Let's move ahead with the MCQs. Now, the first one. Okay, this is how it appears in your examination. Choose the correct answer to the questions from the given options. Do not copy the questions. Write the correct answers only along with the option. Right? The special opening that develops on the bark of the older stems, right, are called. The answer? Put it in the comment section. Children, when you write the answers in the comment section, put the correct question number and then write the answer so that I don't get confused. Like if suppose this answer is lenticels or stomata, whatever is your answer, write 1B, 1C, 2A, 2B, like that you keep on writing the answers in the comment section. Okay, so let me little bit make it bigger so that it's visible to you. Yes, now what is the answer for this? The answer is lenticels. Very good. Let us move ahead. The most effective light of the visible spectrum for photosynthesis. Right? Remember the diagram? Blue and red is the right answer. I think I was too quick in answering this. Anyway, next question. The biological or technical term for the process of fixing of blastocyst to the wall of the endometrium of the uterus obviously is called. Now here you are fixing the blastocyst. So what are the different terms? Fertilization, that is the fusion of the male and the female gamete to form zygote. Parturition is the process of delivery of the full term fetus, a full grown baby outside the mother's body, that is parturition. Gestation is the period from the fertilization till the birth. So what is the process called? It is called implantation. Moving to the next. While viewing the slide of a longitudinal section of the kidney under high power, Shreya found the renal cortex to have dotted appearance. The cortex appeared dotted due to the presence of. Now you have to know that which things are present of the nephrons. Now Bowman's capsule, PCT, DCT is present in the renal cortex. And medulla has got the loop of Henle and the collecting duct. That gives it a fibrous appearance, line appearance. But the cortex has got dotted appearance. So what is the right answer? Woman's capsule and PCT is the best option. Actually, you should have DCT is also there, but woman's capsule and PCT is the right answer. Okay. Next one. The tendinous cord-like structure present in the ventricles of the heart that holds the cuspid valves in position. Now this one, ventricles of the heart, where tendinous cord. Now this can be used as terms when we'll be doing structure and location. Okay, so location of chordae tendineae, you can write tendinous cord present in the ventricles of the heart that hold the cuspid valves. So I told the answer. The answer is chordae tendineae. Moving to the next, the function of lymphocytes and monocytes present in the lymph is to defend the body against infection. Now that is correct, WBC. The lymphocytes produce antibodies and monocytes are phagocytic in function. That is also correct. So both the statements are correct. Little bit modification will be done. Like you can have either A and A is true, R is true, and then you have correct explanation, not a correct explanation. That funda is also there for assertion and reasoning. Moving to the next question. One among the following is the function of a plant hormone, cytokinin. Now, cytokinin promotes the growth of internodes, that is gibberellin. promotes apical dominance, that is auxin, promotes chlorophyll synthesis, or helps in ripening of fruit. Helps in ripening of fruit is ethylene. So what is there? Promotes chlorophyll synthesis is the right answer for cytokinin. Moving to the next, the complex formed by winding of DNA strands around the core of 8 histones. This makes, whatever is the answer, is the structural unit of a chromosome. So what is the answer? It's a nucleosome. Now nucleotides, that is sugar, phosphate and base, nitrogenous base ATGC, A double bond T and G triple bond C. Proteins, you all know it's a biomolecule, the body building food. Right, moving to the next. Fruit and vegetables sometimes burst when kept in water for a long time. Now, since they are talking about, sorry for this, this should not be the answer. Right, what will be the answer? Tell me. Write in the comment section. Fruits and vegetables sometimes burst when kept in water for a long time. This is because burst means what? The internal pressure is pushing it outside. So inner content is turgor pressure. So when turgor pressure is pushing it outside the wall pressure, matlab turgor pressure exceeds the wall pressure. That is the correct answer. Okay? Correct. Understood? That is the correct answer. Moving to the next. A plant with yellow and wrinkled seed with genotype is given to you will give rise to the following gametes. Now here you can see the gamete formation. So this one will go with this one will go with this, that is capital YW and capital YW, that is capital YW is one case and small yw is another case. So what will be the answer? Tell me the correct option. Capital YW and small yw. So this is the right answer. Moving to the next. The hyposecretion of cortisone. Hyposecretion of the cortical, that is corticotropic hormones. Now hypo means what? Less. A is less than C. And alphabets A comes first and then the C. So the answer is Addison's disease. Hyper means more. So that will be Cushing syndrome. So Cushing syndrome is hyper secretion of cortisone. Hypo is Addison's. Adrenal virilism is more of androgen. Acromegaly is more of the growth hormone. Very good. The surgical method in which the sperm duct is cut and ligated. Sperm duct, matlab vas deferens. So it is vasectomy. Those who are answering it correctly, congratulate yourself. You are doing well. Moving to the next. The use of non-conventional source of energy needs to be encouraged. Which of the following reason makes the non-conventional source of energy better than the conventional source? So what will be the answer here? Easily available in nature. Conventional source is easily available. That is true. Sun, wind, they're easily available, right? A non-conventional source of energy needs to be encouraged. Do not cause environmental pollution and are non-renewable sources of energy. Okay. What will be the right answer? These two sentences is correct, right? So easily available in nature, sun, wind, they are easily available and they do not cause environmental pollution. Are non-renewable? That is not right. So what is correct here? Which option? P and Q. Correct answer. Let's move ahead. The light-dependent phase of photosynthesis, that is light reaction, takes place in grana. Now, this is the question that can be asked. But if it is asked as you tell the site of where the site of light reaction, you have to write thylakoids. Okay, be very specific because it is on the membrane of the thylakoids, chlorophyll is present. So, entire activity takes place in the thylakoids. Snehal was looking at a nearby object. Okay, and then what happens? Nearby object, for better viewing, which of the following are involved in the change in curvature of the elastic lens, making it thicker? So what are the things that is required for making the elastic length thicker? So it will be one ciliary body. You know what is ciliary body? The circular structure, ciliary muscles, and the suspensory ligament, the ligament which hold the lens and the ciliary muscles. So one, two, three, all three are the correct answer. Okay. Any doubt? Put it in the comment section. Next one, the phase in which the chromosomes are duplicated. That is, synthesis of the DNA happens. That is, doubling of the DNA happens. So what is the synthesis phase? That is S phase. Okay, you remember the cell cycle, right? G1 phase, then S phase, then G2 phase, and then M phase. G1 phase is the first growth phase where mitochondria, chloroplasts, they all divide. Then you have the synthesis phase where the DNA replicates. So all the proteins required for DNA replication is all produced in G1 phase. And then the cell with the double DNA enters into the G2 phase where it prepares itself to actually divide, enter into the M phase. M phase has got PMAT, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. I hope you understood. Next one, the plant studied by Gregor Johann Mendel. Without seeing the option, try to write the answer. Pisum sativum. That is the first answer. Now this I have typed, so it is in italics. But when you are writing it, it should be underlined. Please, children, if you don't underline, you don't get marks for the scientific term. So it should be underlined when you write. Is that clear? Moving to the next. A phenomenon by which the living or dead cells absorb water by surface tension. Now here surface tension and its adsorption, it is imbibition. Okay. Next question. The process by which ATP is synthesized from ADP and inorganic phosphate in the presence of light. So if you have only ATP synthesized from ADP, this process is called phosphorylation. Okay. This process is called phosphorylation. Phosphorylation. And if it is happening in the presence of light, it becomes photophosphorylation. So the answer is photophosphorylation. Any doubt? Moving to the next question. The pressure developed in the roots. They have told you it's pressure developed in the roots. Due to the continued inward movement of water from cell to cell osmosis, which helps in the ascent of sap of the cell sap. Ascent of sap or the cell sap, I think this can be avoided. Ascent of sap is okay. This is not needed. Upward through the stem, that is called root pressure. Root pressure is the pressure developed in the root because of continuous water coming into the root. But this is not going to be very effective because after the height of say 1 meter and 2 meters, what happens? Because of the gravity and the weight of water, it applies osmotic pressure. So it stops the process of movement of water. Then you need the transpirational pull, cohesion, adhesion, right? If you don't understand any topic, put it in the comment section. I'll explain you. But do not just go with the vague concept in your mind. Fine. Next question. There are 14 chromosomes in a diploid cell. Okay, like you have 46 chromosomes. It is talking about a cell which has got 14 chromosomes. How many chromosomes will be there in the daughter cell produced after a meiotic? Meiotic matlab reduction division. That is meiosis. So after meiosis, what will happen? The number of chromosomes will be halved. So it becomes 7. Understood? How many cells are produced in case of meiosis? It is 4 haploid cells are produced. So if you say 4 number, that is 4 is the number of daughter cells and haploid is the nature of cells with half set of the chromosomes. Do not write 46 or 23 because the question never mentions human beings. They mention generally in meiosis and mitosis what happens. So you have to talk about the general number of chromosome n. Diploid means 2n, haploid means n. Is that clear? Moving to the next, the cell organelle which provides a supportive framework for the cell and also help in the synthesis and transport of proteins and fats. Now name the cell. Now this is from a cell chapter. I have included it one MCQ. Let me see how many of you could answer. Cell organelle supportive framework for the cell and also helps in synthesis and transport. This is endoplasmic reticulum. Okay. Moving to the next. A plant cell placed in certain solution retains its normal shape and size. Matlab, no net movement of water is taking place. Exosmosis is equal to endoosmosis. There is no net movement of water. In that case, it is isotonic solution. If a cell is placed in hypertonic solution, that means the cell will shrink because the water from the cell is lost because of exoosmosis. If the cell is placed in hypotonic or distilled water, they both are hypotonic, then the cell will bulge or it will increase in its volume because the water will be entering into the cell because of the process of endoosmosis. Is that understood? Any doubt? Put it in the comment section, please. Now, next one, movement of molecules of water from a region of its higher concentration to the region of its lower concentration means what is moving? Here, water is moving. From the region of its higher concentration to the region of its lower concentration, matlab, from the dilute solution to a concentrated solution through a semi-permeable membrane. This is giving you the complete definition of, write the answer in the comment section, 24 what? 24B. No. Or 24C. What is the correct answer? Write the correct answer. It is A. Osmosis. It is osmosis. Okay, that is the correct answer. Moving to the next. The rate of photosynthesis is not affected by. Now here carbon dioxide concentration will affect photosynthesis. It is one of the reactant of photosynthesis. Light intensity, without sunlight photosynthesis will not happen. So light is also there. Temperature, there is a bell-shaped graph. I hope you remember the graph. For photosynthesis, you have a graph where you have this shape of graph, where you have optimum pH. Okay, and when you increase the temperature till the optimum, the rate of photosynthesis will increase. As you decrease, the rate of photosynthesis will decrease. For every 10-degree rise in temperature, the photosynthesis rate doubles itself. Remember this. Like if the question can be that at 24 degrees centigrade, there is if the temperature is increased from 24 to 34 degree, what will happen? So obviously the rate of photosynthesis will double. The optimum temperature is around 27 to 35 degrees centigrade. So temperature is not crossing the optimum level. So here the correct answer is humidity. Moving to the next, the only gaseous hormone in the plant. This everybody should know. What is the only gaseous hormone? Ethylene. That causes ripening. Okay. Now you know that how mangoes are being ripened artificially using calcium carbide and water. Calcium carbide reacts with water to form ethylene, and ethylene helps in the ripening of the mangoes. Okay, this is some of chemistry. Integration of chemistry in bio. Full form of IA, ABA, very important. IA, indole 3 acetic acid. Do not miss 3. Indole 3 acetic acid. ABA is abscisic acid. The stress hormone in plants is called ABA. Stress hormone in animals, human, is adrenaline. Is that clear? Site of biosynthetic phase of photosynthesis. Biosynthetic matlab formation of glucose. Okay, so it is a dark reaction. The light reaction is called photochemical phase. So photochemical is a light reaction and biosynthetic is a dark reaction. Dark reaction happens in stroma. Stoma is a singular of stomata. The stomata, wrong answer. Stroma with the R is for glucose. Is that clear? Thylakoids are the site of photochemical reactions where you have photolysis of water, photophosphorylation, activation of chlorophyll. So first will be activation of chlorophyll, then you have for photolysis and then photophosphorylation. Okay, frets are the connecting links between the grana. Moving to the next, observe the diagram carefully and choose the incorrect statement. Okay, you have to choose the incorrect statement. So let us see. What are the statements given? The maternal and paternal chromosomes gets mixed up during the first reduction phase. Okay. The chromosomes are the homologous chromosomes which undergo crossing over. Okay. Incorrect you have to find. Okay. The chromosomes are homologous chromosomes. Obviously one from the father, one from the mother. The crossing over leads to the mixing up of genes. So this statement is correct. Okay. The crossing over leads to mixing up of genes during the meiotic division, which provides for the innumerable variations in the progeny. That is also right. And crossing over takes place during the prophase. Basically, to be more precise, it is prophase 1 of mitosis. No, it is in the prophase 1 of meiosis. So this is only the wrong statement. Rest all statements are correct. The maternal, yeah, that is all correct. Okay. So this D is the wrong statement. So what is your wrong statement here? The wrong statement is this. It happens in the prophase 1 of meiosis. Remember. Okay, moving to the next. The valve present between the right auricle and the right ventricle. Now, which is the valve present between the right auricle and the right ventricle? Is the tricuspid valve. Okay, it is the tricuspid valve. Mitral valve is bicuspid, present between left auricle and left ventricle. Aortic semilunar valve. Aortic semilunar valve is between the aorta and the left ventricle. Pulmonary semilunar valve is between the right ventricle and the pulmonary artery. Okay, moving to the next. In which of the following phases does the RNA and protein synthesize, which increases the cytoplasmic volume? Now here, RNA and proteins are generally synthesized to increase the cytoplasmic volume is in the G2 phase. Okay. Actually, it can be in the G1 phase also, because in both the cases, RNAs and proteins are synthesized. So this question, my error, there'll be two answers, G1 or G2 phase. But if you have to choose in your examination, and this type of question is there where there's a confusion, pay more attention to G2 phase, because G2 phase may you have in both the phases you have RNA and protein synthesized. Okay. I'm sorry for this question, but RNA and protein. Moving to the next. Genes are the specific sequence of nucleotides on the chromosome that encodes particular protein which expresses it in the form of some particular feature of the body. Now this question, this is the complete definition of genes. So from there only this question is being picked up. Next question, which of the following blood vessels contain minimum urea? The urea will be least in the blood vessel which leaves the kidney. Correct? Because kidney mein filtration is already done for the urea. So which of the blood vessel leaves kidney? That is renal vein. Understood? How many of you gave the right answer for 32? A? Just check. Yes. Moving to the next. Dash is the process of direct flowing out or oozing out of plant sap from a cut surface. Whenever you get a cut, you bleed. Similarly, when a plant gets cut, it also bleeds. So the answer is bleeding. Okay. Moving to the next. In human, urea is formed where? Where is urea formed? Synthesized in human? It is in the kidney or in the liver? The correct answer is liver. Liver mein there is a cycle where excess of ammonia is deaminated and it is converted into urea, and then it is sent into the blood, from where it goes to the kidney for filtration. Okay. Moving to the next. Choose the correct pair of WBC in the given option. Now here, WBC correct pair, basophils and monocytes, they are different. Basophils are granulocytes, monocyte is a agranulocyte. Neutrophils and eosinophils, both are granulocytes. Lymphocyte and basophils, lymphocytes and thrombocytes. Thrombocytes are the platelets. So the correct answer is neutrophils and eosinophils. Both are in the category of granulocytes. Understood? So both are in the category of granulocytes. Next one, when a dihybrid organism forms gamete, each gamete receives one allele from the allelic pair. Dihybrid. Okay, it's talking about dihybrid cross. The distribution of alleles of different genes is independent during the gamete formation. This explains what? Independent assortment. It is dihybrid. So dihybrid organisms mein it is independent assortment, because you're talking about two separate characters, different genes, na? So this is independent assortment. But if you talk about the reappearance of the recessive trait in the F2 generation of the monohybrid cross, it talks about law of segregation, and F1 talks about law of dominance. These are certain shortcuts to understand. Next question. Which of the following pair represents the genetic disorder? Which of the following is thalassemia and anemia? Anemia is not a genetic disorder. Hemophilia and color blindness, we'll keep it on a hold. Color blindness and osteoporosis. Osteoporosis is your bone going weak, calcium deficiency. Anemia and malaria. Malaria is mosquitoes. Anemia is not a genetic disorder, so the answer is B. How many gave the answer 37B? Clap for yourself. Right? Next one. What is the probability of getting a hemophilic son to a couple in which the father is normal? Father is normal means what? The father is XY, totally normal, right? And the mother is a carrier. Mother is a carrier. Mother has got a faulty gene. So, what is the probability of getting a hemophilic son to the couple? Now, this is out of the entire children, all the children, okay? So, hemophilic son means one carrier daughter, one normal daughter. Then XY a colorblind son and XY a normal son. So, out of 4 children, there are chances of getting a hemophilic son. The hemophilic child नहीं बोला. It is setting hemophilic son. So out of 2 son, this couple is going to have 1 son who is colorblind. So 50% of the son will be colorblind. If they would have asked that what is the probability of getting a hemophilic child or the offspring, then you have to consider all the 4 children. But it has mentioned son means you have to talk only about son. So out of 2 sons, 1 son is colorblind, 1 upon 2, that is 50%. Okay. Moving to the next question. Which of the following statement or statements are true? Let us find out how many statements are true. In guard cells, turgor pressure increases during stomatal opening. That is right. Guard cells loses its tonicity during stomatal opening. That is wrong. Guard cells absorb carbon dioxide during photosynthesis. Guard cells absorb carbon dioxide during photosynthesis? No. And cave ions influx in the guard cells during photosynthesis. 1 minute, children. There is something here. Now, what is the question? Guard cells absorb carbon dioxide during photosynthesis. Correct? No, first photosynthesis happens in the guard cells only. So, it is right. And then K ions influx means K ions coming in the guard cells during photosynthesis helps in the opening, that is increases the turgidity. So according to potassium ion theory, influx causes turgidity, that is water coming into the guard cells and the guard cells open. So how many statements are correct? A, C and D. Is there any option in A, C, D? Yes, here is the answer A, C, D. Okay. Next one. Identify the apparatus in the phenomenon. Now, what is the apparatus? This one is called ganopotometer, which is transpiration. Photometer, ascent of sap. Barometer, humidity, or photometer, transpiration. Now, here pH, that is H means light, photo means light. It is potential, water. So, the answer is Ganong's photometer, 40A. Moving to the next, what is tonicity? Tonicity is what? A relative concentration of solution. Is there anything like that? Now, when I talk about like shrinking of the cell through osmosis when it loses more water is flaccidity. Stretching of the cell through osmosis where it can accommodate more water, it is called turgidity. Relative concentration of the solution that determines inward and outward direction of diffusion is the tonicity. And shrinkage of protoplasm when kept in highly concentrated solution is plasmolysis. Okay, so I have told you all the terms: flaccidity, turgidity, and plasmolysis. And the tonicity is relative concentration of solution that determines the inward and the outward direction of diffusion. Okay, next one. Which valve produces lub sound on closure? Now, lub sound, lub, dub, right? The first sound is lub. Arterioventricular valve. Arterioventricular valve कौन सा है? Bicuspid and tricuspid. So, your answer is 42A. Correct? How many of you are right? Then, which of the following statement is or are true? So, let us see. Ethylene is synthesized in senescent leaves and flowers, germinating seeds and ripening fruits. It is correct. Ethylene induces ripening, that is also correct. Ethylene promotes root growth and root hair formation, that is also correct. And ethylene induces flowering in mango, that is also correct. All the four statements are correct. So the answer is A, B, C, D. Okay. Next one. Which hormone helps in the following function? Stimulates plant growth by cell division. तो सेल डिवीजन का पॉसिबिलिटी ऑक्सिन भी हो सकता है, साइटोकाइनिन भी हो सकता है. Causes expansion of cotyledons in seed and inhibits apical dominance. So if it promotes apical dominance, then it is auxin. If it inhibits apical dominance, it is cytokinin. Okay? Understood? So this is cytokinin answer. Moving to the next. Study the diagram and choose the correct statement. Now here what is happening? It is can anybody name what is this WBC? What is the name of this WBC in the comment section? Name it. I will not tell you the name. It has numerous lobed nucleus. Anyway, now what will happen? The process shown here is in A is diapedesis. That is right. Oozing out of WBC at the site of infection is called diapedesis. The process shown in B is phagocytosis. That is also correct. It is eating up the foreign particles. The WBC shown in the diagram is neutrophil. Now I have to give the answer. The WBC shown in the diagram is neutrophil. That is also correct because it has numerous lobed nucleus. And the WBC shown in the diagram is monocyte. That is not right. So let us move ahead. What is the correct answer? A, B, C. What is the fourth? A, B, C. This answer is correct. Okay. Moving to the next. The aim of experiment shown in the diagram. Now here you can see KOH. What is the function of KOH? It absorbs carbon dioxide. So the leaf part which is in the bottle does not get carbon dioxide, so no photosynthesis. So what is important? What is the aim of the experiment? To show that carbon dioxide is required for the process of photosynthesis. Now what is the answer? Look into the comment section. Look into the options. To show carbon dioxide is required for photosynthesis, correct. First answer is only correct. To show oxygen is released, no. The light required, no. It's not talking about variegated leaf. To show carbon dioxide is released during photosynthesis, not at all. Carbon dioxide cannot be released in photosynthesis. It is a raw material for photosynthesis. In human heart, there is no mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. The statement is right because there is septum. Presence of valve in the heart allows the movement of the blood only in one direction. This statement is also right. Now, the question can be modified with reasoning. Like, what can be the reason? Now, here I can give you in human heart, there is no mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. There is a septum present between the right and the left chamber of the heart. So, in that case, there is a reason becomes the correct explanation for the first statement. Okay. The blood vessel which brings oxygenated blood into the nephron, oxygenated blood, there should be an arteriole, and which brings aata hai, arrival is afferent. Exit is efferent. Okay. Arrival and exit. Arrival is afferent, exit is efferent. Okay. Moving to the next. To the next question. That is, Ahmed describes two forces that contribute to the capillary action and surface tension in liquids. This affects. Now here you can see P, that is intermolecular attraction between the similar molecules. So if you talk about the similar molecules, it is cohesion. Similar is cohesion. And if you talk about different molecules, it is adhesion. Okay, it is adhesion. So now you might find the correct answer from the option. So what will be the right answer? You can see here P is the cohesive force, A is the adhesive force. So 49, A is the right answer. Now moving to the next question, the 50th question. Yes, we have already reached to the 50% of the video, and I hope you are understanding these concepts. Do not only stick to the options, also see why other options are not right. So that will help you to solve other questions which can be on the related context. Now moving next, what happens if proximal convoluted tubule is removed from the nephron? So you should know that what is the function of PCT. Now PCT helps in reabsorption of glucose, amino acids and other molecules. So the filtrate, the glomerular filtrate which comes out from the Bowman's capsule is huge in quantity. From there, the important things are reabsorbed. So reabsorption is done by PCT, loop of Henle, and DCT. Generally, ADH functions on ADH means water, related to water. It functions on DCT and the collecting tubule. So here they have asked about DCT. So we are just ruling out the third and fourth option, that is urine being more concentrated or diluted, because that is the function of ADH that happens in DCT. So here what will happen? Urine is not formed, that is not right. Quality and quantity of the urine will be affected. Quality because reabsorption, first of all, of water and all will not happen much in the PCT. What happens will not happen. So the filtrate will be in a larger amount, and even the quality, like important molecules, will also be thrown out of the body. So the quality and the quantity of urine will be affected. Moving to the next, right? Now, when you talk about the next one, that is, which of the following component of the nephron is present in renal cortex? Now, cortex, what are the things which are present? In cortex, you have Bowman's capsule, you have the PCT, you have the DCT. These three things are present in the renal cortex. So A, B, and D is the right answer. Correct? Now, loop of Henle and collecting tubule is present in the medulla, renal medulla. Okay. Moving to the next. During ventricular systole, the arterioventricular valve, what happens to it? Tell me, 52, what is the right answer? During ventricular systole, when the ventricle is pushing the blood to the pulmonary artery and the aorta, that means semilunar valves will be open. And to prevent the backflow of the blood from the ventricles to the aorta, that valve will close. So, arterioventricular valve will close and semilunar valve will open. Close, open, where is the option? This one, the first one. How many of you are right? Just see. Very good. Keep it up. Moving to the next assertion. The fetus respires but does not breathe. Is that right? Because the respiratory system is not functional in fetus. It is just practicing breathing by taking in the amniotic fluid and giving out the amniotic fluid. So the first statement is absolutely correct. The maternal blood supplies oxygen to the fetus through placenta. This is also correct explanation. So the answer is A is true and R is the correct explanation of A. Clear? Moving to the next one. The loop of Henle lies in. Now we have just done this question. So please write the answer. 54. What will be the right answer, children? It will be renal medulla. Next one. While studying the stages in the evolution of man, a well-developed chin is observed in. Now, actually, the developed chin was there in Cro-Magnon, after Cro-Magnon. So it will be Homo sapiens. Okay, will be the right answer. Next one. Next one, moving to the gametes consist of. Now, gametes, matlab, after meiosis, this is formed. So, total, this is talking about human gametes, right? So, human gametes, 46 chromosome in all. So, half will be 23. 23 will be 22 plus 1. Okay, so 22 autosomes plus 1 allosomes. Right? 22 autosomes plus 1 allosome. What is autosome? The somatic chromosomes. And what is allosomes? The sex chromosomes, X or Y. So 22 and 1X or Y, depending upon the chromosome of male or female. Okay. Next one, the process of conversion of ADP to ATP. Now, I think this question is done, but still, ADP to ATP in photosynthesis. Now, it was earlier in the presence of light. This is just a twisted form of question. So, the answer will be photophosphorylation. It's a revision. Next one, Rama wanted to cross the road. She looked on the either side of the road and then walked across the other side of the road. Which of the following are involved in the process described above? Now, when she's looking here and there, she's taking the decision. So, cerebrum, right? Then cerebellum for maintaining the coordination and all. And skeletal muscles, obviously, skeletal muscles. Medulla is functioning all the time. That is, all the involuntary actions of the body is taking care, is all there, all the time it's there. And there's none of the options which says 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 will not be the answer. 1, 2, 3 will be the right answer. Okay, 1, 2, 3 will be the right answer. This is the correct answer. Only 4, nay. Skeletal muscle has to be there because you are walking and the muscles are there. Fine. So this is the right answer. Moving to the next. There is a frequent urination in summer than in winter. Right? Because in summer you're sweating a lot, loss of water is enough in your body, so you're sweating, so there is less urination. In summer, we lose water as sweat. So kidneys reabsorb more water, hence urine formed is less in summer. So both the statements are true and R is the correct explanation of A. Any doubt? Put it in the comment section. Moving to the next. Marine life, that is marine fish, not life. Marine fish when placed in tap water. Now marine is concentrated water. Tap water is dilute. So it burst. Bursting means what? Water is getting inside the cells and rupturing the cells. So it is exoosmosis that is happening. Correct? Understood? Our biology teacher asked her students to give 2 examples of vestigial organs. Okay? Now, Arya said wisdom teeth and pinna. Kavya said body hair and large intestine. Rahi said vermiform appendix and wisdom teeth. And Siddhi said pinna and ossicles. Now tell me, first mark the mark the vestigial organ. Wisdom teeth is a vestigial organ. Pinna is a vestigial organ. Body hair is important. Though not they're very important, but it is important a little bit. Large intestine is very important. Vermiform appendix is right. Teeth is also right. Pinna is a vestigial organ, and ossicles, ear ossicles are important for listening. So, who gave the right answer? Arya and Rahi gave the right answer. Who were correct? Arya and Rahi. There is no option of Arya and Rahi. Nee, Rahi and Arya is here. No, Rahi and Arya. They gave the right answer. Correct? Moving to the next. Color blindness affects males more than females. Since it is Y-linked, that is wrong. What is color blindness? Color blindness is a X-linked disorder. X-linked disorder. Okay, it is an X-linked disorder. So it is a wrong statement. So A is true, but R is false. A is true, but R is false. Okay. Then both A and R is false. Fine. Understood? Next. Lamarck gave the theory of evolution, which can best be explained. Now, Lamarck, when you talk about Lamarck, he talked about use and disuse theory. Okay, that is arrival of the fittest, not the survival of the fittest. So here Lamarck always talked about that there will be a modification in the organism based on the requirement, and then they will proceed to a new kind of organism which will be helpful. Yes? Theory of acquired character, theory of natural selection, survival of the fittest, theory of variation. So it is theory of acquired character. In the lifetime, whatever characteristics they will acquire, they are going to send in, pass it to the next generation. That will be beneficial for the organism. But this is not accepted. Charles Darwin theory of natural selection, survival of the fittest is affected. Survival of the fittest and theory of natural selection is same as Darwinism. Okay. A sequence of DNA has got 200 nitrogenous base pairs. 200. If the number of adenine present is in the given DNA sequence is 70. But out of 200, there is 70A, right? Adenine. Adenine base pairs will be 70 only. If 70 hai, so what is remaining? 130, right? 200 minus 70 is 130. So 130 is the right answer. Next one. The type of movement shown by the pollen in the following figure. Now here pollen grains shows chemotropism. It is a tropic movement towards the chemical released by the ovary. So here the movement is on the basis of chemical. So it is chemotropic movement. Okay. Next one. Ayan was studying the population growth of a city. He observed the following growth curve. Identify the type. So here you can see the shape only, right? You can see the shape. The shape is S shape. S is sigmoid shape of curve. According to this curve, no, there is initially adaptation going on. So the population rises very slowly and then they get adapted to the environment. So they rise rapidly and then slowly and steadily it becomes constant because the resources becomes constant for the microorganism. This is called a sigmoid growth curve, also called S-shaped growth curve. Exponential is J-shaped. Exponential growth curve is like a J-shaped. There's a steep rise in the population. That is what population explosion all about. Zero population growth curve is a straight line. With the time, the population becomes constant. And L-shaped means there is a kind of fall. It was more and then finally it reduces. So that is your L-shaped. Okay. Consider the following flowchart for the reflex action. Now here receptor is given to you, that is receiving your sense organs. Afferent neuron. What is afferent neuron? Afferent neuron is another name for the sensory neuron. Right? Is the sensory neuron. Right. Efferent neuron is other name for the motor neuron. Motor neuron. So the neuron which connects afferent and efferent is interneuron, but interneuron is not given in the option. That means it is the organ where interneuron is present. That is your spinal cord. Now here what you have to keep in mind that it is a reflex action. So in reflex action, brain is not involved. It is the reflex action mein your spinal cord that is involved. So that is the answer here. Spinal cord will be the answer. Okay. Reflex action में generally CNS is also included. CNS में spinal cord is responsible in reflex action. When you write the definition for reflex action, there also you should mention that without the involvement of brain, a quick, immediate, involuntary action to the to the response, to the stimulus without involving the brain. It's a human ancestors never used their tails, and that is the reason why the gene for the tail disappeared. Now, is that true? Human ancestors never used tails. Did the human ancestors ever had tail? Right? No. The first statement is only false. And Lamarck theory of evolution is popularly known as theory of inheritance. This statement is correct. First statement is completely false. Our ancestors have never had tails. Even chimpanzees and all the closest ones do not have tails. Right? Moving to the next. Identify the phenomenon depicted in the picture. Now here you can see that the sun rays are coming to earth and is getting reflected, but there are few radiations which are trapped inside the atmosphere, increasing the temperature of the earth. So it is greenhouse effect. Ozone depletion mein, there is a hole in the stratosphere which allows the UVB radiations of the sun to enter the earth, causes skin cancer and skin related issues. Tsunami is because of the tectonic movement of the plates under the earth's surface, right? You know better. So because of that earthquake under the ocean that leads to the big ripples of water or waves of water coming and hitting. Acid rain is because of pollution. Because of pollution, sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxide reacts with water to form sulfurous acid and nitric acid, nitrous acid, and those acids fall on earth, increases the pH of the soil. Then these decompose the different salts into their ions, which are then taken up by the plant, causes toxicity in the plant. The plants die. Then the leaves are also burnt because of the acid. Right, the pH of the water body changes, pH changes, solubility of the gas changes, and finally the entire life, flora and fauna is affected. Observe the diagram and the correct sequence, correct structure and function. Now you can see here the C is the ampulla. Ampulla is responsible for hearing? No. B is the vestibule. Vestibule, utriculus and sacculus. Utriculus and sacculus is for static balance. But here B is written as dynamic balance. So this is also wrong. A is cochlea. Cochlea is for hearing. But here cochlea is written as static balance. That is also wrong. D is the nerve that originates from cochlea that is important for listening. So D is for conduction of impulse to brain for listening is the right answer. So you should know all the parts also, right? And then so moving to the next question. Diabetes insipidus caused by the hyposecretion of antidiuretic hormone, right? Or antidiuretic hormone, uh, I'm sorry. Next question. Next question. The conduction for brain for listening. Now, next question. Diabetes insipidus caused by hyposecretion of antidiuretic hormone is marked by excessive urination and too much of thirst of water. The urine output is regulated by hormone ADH, which helps in the absorption of water in the nephrons. Now, both the statements are correct, right? ADH deficiency leads to dilute urine because reabsorption does not take place. So, dilute urine is more and more excessive urination, right? So, this is true. The urine output is regulated by ADH. That is also true. Antidiuretic hormone helps in reabsorption of water in the nephrons. That is also true. So here both the statements are true and R is the correct explanation of A. Understood? Right answer. Moving to the next. The sinoarterial node is often referred as the natural pacemaker of the heart. Which of the following statement best describes its function and location? Now, this question can be very important because it tells you the exact location of SAN. So it is located in the left atrium and regulates blood pressure? No. It regulates the heartbeat. It is located in the right ventricle? No. And pumps the blood to the lungs? Not at all. It is a specialized mass of tissue in the right atrium that generates electrical impulse for heart contraction. So this is my right answer. Okay, children? You should know the answer and look for the answer in the option. Then you'll be 100% sure. Otherwise, go for elimination. This can be the answer, this cannot be the answer, and then find the correct answer. Okay? Next one. Observe the diagram and identify the incorrect statement. Now, incorrect statement, first of all, here the image is being formed beyond the retina. That means it is what? Hypermetropia. Okay? That is hypermetropia. And matlab you are not able to see the you can see the far objects, but you cannot see the nearer objects. Okay. Now, hypermetropia, the person with this disorder has difficulty in reading book. That is correct. The power of the glass is positive. That is also correct. The disorder is hypermetropia. That is also correct. It is corrected by concave lens. No, it is corrected by convex lens. Okay. See the diagram. How the diagram has to be drawn. In exam, if the diagram is given, you need to draw the arrows also, because without the arrows, the ray diagram is wrong. Okay. So this is before correction. After correction, what will happen? You will have a convex lens being made, which will make the diagram, which will make the image on the retina. Okay. The diagram cannot be very clear, but I hope you can draw that way. Okay. Moving to the next. A biology teacher asks a student to give two examples of vestigial organs. Now, this is the similar question we have already done. Let me see whether you can find out. So, let us mark the vestigial organs again. Wisdom teeth is a vestigial organ. Pinna is also a vestigial organ. Ear ossicle. The ear ossicles are useful for listening. Small intestine is a useful organ. Appendix is a vestigial organ. What is erector pili muscles? These muscles are present in your skin, which helps in the movement of hair on the skin. So it is also a kind of vestigial organ for us. Pinna and cochlea. So what is the right answer? Ria and Rahul. Is Ria and Rahul there? Ria and Rahul. Yes, Ria and Rahul. This is the correct answer. Okay. Moving to the next question. Color blindness affects male more than females. This is correct. Males have only one X chromosome, so the recessive allele on the X chromosome will be expressed. So this is a true explanation. Okay, so this is a true explanation. Moving to the next. So this is the right answer. That is 76A. Moving to the next. A child has blood group AB. The genotype is given. That means these two allele, one is from the father and one is from the mother. So let us assume, okay. Now suppose this one is from the father and let us assume, I'm just assuming, okay, so you can see that none of the parents can be basically the O blood group. Correct? For AB blood group, the parent has to be A or B. In all the cases, you have A, B, AB, A. So here this option, mother group is AB and the father group is O. Now what kind of children will be produced? It will be either A or B, but not AB. So moving to the next, a sequence of DNA has got 500 nitrogenous base pairs. If adenine present is given as 180, so simple, you just have to minus it. 500 nitrogen base pairs. Pairs matlab there are total 1000. Out of 1000, if you do the calculation, 500 pairs. That means 1000. Out of 1000, there is 180A. So obviously there will be 180T. So 180 is what? What is the total? You have to minus it, right? So 180 plus 180 is 360. So how much is left? How much is left? 640. So 640 divided by 2. Total, the left is 640. 640 में equal amount of G and C divided by 2. That will give you 320 G and 320 C. Okay. This is a basic calculation. Otherwise, simply what you can do, if A is given, matlab 80 pair is given to you. So 500 minus 180, answer is 320. Answer is 320. Answer is 320. Moving to the next, in cholera, patients suffer from diarrhea and vomiting, which causes severe dehydration. Now, severe dehydration means water content of the body is reduced. If water content of the body is reduced, which hormone is triggered? ADH, antidiuretic hormone. And what is the function? It reabsorbs water from the nephrons, that is from the distal convoluted tubule and the collecting tubule. Now, what will happen? Since water is getting reabsorbed, the urine formation will be hampered. So finally, the person who has cholera, they do not urinate. So if they don't urinate, urea level in the blood will increase, and the person will have a disorder called uremia, which is a fatal condition because the blood becomes toxic due to accumulation of urea in it. In experiment, a potted plant is kept in dark for 24 hours, and then one of its leaves is partially covered with an opaque paper in a shape of a triangle. Okay, but the leaf is given and it's covered with a shape of a triangle paper. The plant is then placed in a bright light for several hours. Now, what they are doing here? Can anybody name the process which is being done here? What is the process called? It is called de-starching. De-starching is going on. Okay, de-starching. Okay, now it's partially covered with an opaque paper. That is okay. Several hours and later, and the leaf is tested with iodine solution. Matlab here, which test is going on? Starch test. Okay, here what is going on? Starch test is going on. So what observation will be demonstrated? The entire leaf, both covered and uncovered, will form uniform blue-black? No, because photosynthesis will not occur under a triangle. Only the uncovered region turns blue-black, while the covered region remains brownish. That is true. Only the covered triangular area turns blue-black? No. Neither? No. So this is the correct answer. Easy? Moving to the next. You take your time to read, okay? A student measures her resting pulse rate and finds it to be 72 beats per minute. After running up and down the stairs for 5 minutes, she measures it again and finds it to be 120 beats per minute. Which explanation best connects this observation to the function of human circulatory system and respiratory system during the exercise? Now, the heart beats faster only to maintain the body temperature while the lungs work less to conserve energy? No. The heart beats faster to supply more oxygen and nutrients to the muscles and to remove more carbon dioxide, while breathing rate also increases to meet the higher demand. I'll keep it on a hold. The change in the pulse rate is random and has no meaning relationship with no. This is absolutely wrong. The heart rate increases because less oxygen is needed during the exercise, so blood circulates quickly without much gases. Now take some time, read the question again, and answer. You can pause the video for a while, read it, and then answer. Okay, I'll give the answer because I have to complete 100 MCQs. So the answer is the heart beats faster to supply more oxygen and nutrient to the muscles and to remove more carbon dioxide, while breathing rate also increases to meet this higher demand. Okay, so this is your answer. Next one, someone question on food chain, because food chain is generally asked. Even in your specimen paper, they have given an unusual food chain of seal and penguin. So you should know that seal consumes penguin. Okay, the topmost is seal. Anyway, coming back, in an ecosystem, rabbit feeds on grass, snake feeds on rabbit. Recently, a viral disease drastically reduced the rabbit population. Which of the following long-term outcomes is likely most likely, assuming no human intervention and that disease does not affect other species? Now, what will happen? Rabbits are all dead. So, which organism will grow? The one which was being eaten by rabbits. So who was being eaten by rabbits? Snake? Grass. So grass will increase because rabbits are not eating the grass. What about the snakes? Snakes are feeding on rabbits. So if rabbits are dead, then the snake population will also reduce because of hunger. So let us see what is the option. The snake population will initially decrease but may later stabilize or adapt by shifting to alternative prey, while grass biomass may increase due to reduced grazing pressure. The entire ecosystem will immediately collapse because one species was reduced. No. Grass biomass will decrease. No. Snake number will permanently increase because they now have fewer competitors for food. They are not competing for the food. The first option, initially there will be a decrease, but later on they will find, because there is food chain, there is food web. Okay. So initially it will go down, but later on it will find another food. Moving to the next question, few more questions to go. During an investigation on transpiration, four identical potted plants are set up with the following conditions. Plant A, leaves coated with petroleum jelly on both the sides. Now what is happening? Transpiration will not happen. Leaves coated with petroleum jelly only on the upper side of the surface. Leaf coated with petroleum jelly only on the lower surface. Leaves not coated at all. Which plant is expected to lose the least amount of water by the transpiration, and what is the reasoning behind this? Now, least amount of water will be lost by plant A, correct? Let's see. Plant A, because blocking stomata on both the surface prevents most water vapor from escaping. Plant B, most stomata on the upper surface and they are blocked. No, that is not right. Next one, plant D, uncoated leaves can regulate stomata opening. That is true, but water will be lost. Plant C, because the lower surface has fewer stomata and coating, it reduces little water loss. Now, basically, stomata is present on both the surface. Less stomata is present on the upper surface in dicot leaves. Okay, and here they are investigating about the plant, not mentioned dicot and monocot. So there are stomata on both the surface. So when location of stomata is asked, you have to mention on the epidermal surface of the leaves. Okay. Mainly concentrated on lower side. Okay. But it is on the epidermal surface of the leaf. No other answer is accepted. Huh? In nephron, if the glomerular filtrate rate decreases significantly due to narrowing of the afferent arteriole, what is the most likely effect on urine composition and why? Now, if the glomerular filtrate decreases due to narrowing of afferent arteriole, the afferent arteriole is basically wider than the efferent. That is why the pressure is created. Now, if the narrowing happens, then the proper pressure is not created and the filtration will not happen. So, urine composition will remain completely unchanged? No. Urine volume will decrease and may show reduction excretion of waste like urea, or less filtrate is formed initially. Urine becomes very dilute? No. Urine will have higher volume? No. So the answer is justify. Is it correct? Right? So 84, B is the right answer. Moving to the next. Children, before I answer, you can pause the video and see whether you understood the question or not. Since I have to complete this video fast, so I am literally reading it and then telling you the answers. So if you really want to be helped, you can pause the video there, read the question, write the answer, and then check whether it is right or wrong. Okay? In a genetic cross between two pea plants that are heterozygous for the seed. Now, heterozygous seed means R, that is capital R, small r. As a student expected a ratio of 3 is to 1. However, after counting the large number of springs, she finds approximately one round and one wrinkled. Which of the following best explains this observation? 1 is to 1 ratio. That means seed shape is P is not inherited genetically and is purely influenced by the environment. The cross was likely between a heterozygous round plant and a homozygous wrinkled plant instead of two heterozygous plant. I think this is the correct answer, right? The wrinkled trait must have been dominant. No, Mendel law do not apply to the C shape. That is also wrong. Now here what is happening after doing the cross again and again. However, after counting the large number of offsprings, generally what is the thing? For F2 generation, you have a heterozygous cross where both the parent has to be heterozygous. Then you get the ratio of 3 is to 1. But if you have to get the ratio of 1 is to 1, what is the possibility? If I have the cross C, R, R, cross, R, R. Then what is the offspring? Capital R, small r, and small r, small r. That is the offspring. So 1 is to 1 ratio. So this was the outcome. That is why it was a cross was likely between a heterozygous round plant and a homozygous wrinkled plant. That is why the offspring is 1 is to 1 ratio. Understood? Moving to the next. 15 more questions to go. Next one. A leafy shoot kept in moving air wilts faster because moving air, what it does to the transpiration? It increases the transpiration. And since it increases the transpiration, it increases the absorption of water. Correct? So this is the right answer. Little bit fast. Pause the video, write the answer and check. If guard cells lose potassium ions, stomata will open or close. Potassium ion theory. That is when potassium enters the guard cells become turgid and the stomata opens. When the potassium ions leave the guard cells, it becomes flaccid because of exoosmosis. So what will happen? It will close partially or completely is the right answer. Moving to the next. The left ventricle has thicker walls than the right ventricles because it has to pump the blood to the entire body. And if you compare, ventricular walls are thicker than the arterial walls.